Well, Xbox is on a little bit of a roll right now. We probably will have a better idea about what they're going to do, in the coming days when they do their little developer direct or whatever. But I still think that that is going to be a fun thing. And, obviously the industry is kind of releasing things. That I'm happy that certain things are getting released a lot. You look at stuff like Astrobot, you look at Nintendo. A lot of the stuff that they're doing is very much in the vein of bringing back the platformers and things like that. And I think that that's something that is needed. I mean, wasn't gaming much better off when we had a Sonic and a Mario and we had Ratchet and Clank and we had Banjo-Kazooie when we had these type of games. And so I think that this is very interesting to hear, and we could be seeing more of this in the future as well, which it brings the perfect timing for this. I mean, I think the fact that Astrobot ended up winning Game of the Year for Sony really showcases that people are taking, all kinds of games seriously. You don't have to have some kind of zombie, realistic looking game. I mean, if you look at some of the previous Games of the Year winners over the past few years, you had stuff like It Takes Two and Astrobot, and I think that really kind of can spark a trend, and the thing is that I think fans are hungry for this kind of stuff, and that would be a very cool thing to see. So, I want to go ahead and get started on this video. Should be a good one. What's up, everybody? Crap Gamer here. Crap Gamer Reviews, of course, with another video. Please like the video, share it out, and go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already done so. I do daily gaming content, so that's content on the daily. And just so you guys know, I try to be fun and informative, so hopefully that comes across in the videos. So so according to this, it looks like Xbox could rival a 3D Mario with a new Banjo game. So, and there's been rumors of that as well, but we've been hearing for years and years about how Xbox might do something with the Banjo-Kazooie IP at some point in the future. But as things sound kind of right now, and it doesn't really seem that anything particularly noteworthy is happening. We did have some rumors. I think last year they said that they just started or something like that on that, so we probably wouldn't hear anything from it for a little bit. But a lot of people have shown support for it, including Moon Studios, best known for creating Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisps, who suggest on social media that Xbox could rival 3D Mario in both quality and revenue if they gave a new Banjo game to a really talented developer. Here's what he had to say. They have been sitting on Banjo-Kazooie with nothing happening there, even though a really talented developer could probably bring a Banjo game that could rival 3D Mario and probably sell similar numbers. Now, the comments were actually in reply to someone who asked how the Ori IP would have been developed alongside Xbox, where he suggested the jump to 3D and experimenting with other games could have happened in time. He also mentions that he feels that Xbox is lacking in family-friendly department as things stand, where he says Xbox doesn't really have any family-friendly titles, at least nothing of quality that they're known for. That's what I hope Microsoft would see in Ori, but Xbox is clearly about Halo, Gears, and Forza, and nothing really else got all that much attention. Which, again, I think that was probably true at the time, but if you look at things now, I don't really think that that is as much of the case. I feel like, obviously Microsoft is going to kind of do things the way that they want to. I mean, obviously they have a lot of games, but even with the stuff that they have, think about it. Diablo mature, Call of Duty mature, Doom mature. I think Perfect Dark is probably going to be like at least a teen or mature rating game. So we'll see how they work these things out. But again, I think a lot of people would love to see a new Banjo-Kazooie, and even with Microsoft's, I think maybe you go, okay, well, yeah, they could make one, but who would buy it or who would play it? I mean, listen, they do lack the family-friendly stuff, and they have, games that they could make that would do that. I mean, they have the Skylander stuff. I mean, all that kind of stuff is very much family-friendly, and a situation where that would be very cool to kind of bring back. But you also have the Switch 2, that stuff. So if you were really worried about it, you could definitely have a situation where you could 100% go out there and do something, where you could do something like that. So, again, that's really going to be up to Microsoft if they're going to be able to kind of accomplish that. But I think that, a lot of people are looking for something like that, and I think that is something that they could really, really, really do that would be able to kind of get people, excited about it, So if you didn't know, it's like also recently, Banjo-Kazooie kind of made a comeback on the Nintendo Switch Online. You know, people didn't really kind of understand that, but Banjo-Kazooie's last major outing obviously was Nuts and Bolts. Kind of divisive game, but what's interesting about Nuts and Bolts is if you go back and you look at it, right, and you go, okay, well, here's Banjo-Kazooie, Nuts and Bolts, or whatever the case may be. It does a lot of the stuff that the newer Zelda game does, and people love that Zelda game, right? But apparently, Banjo-Kazooie, Nuts and Bolts is kind of one of those things where people are like, I don't know about that, And I gotta say, it's like for me, I thought it wasn't a bad game. I just really thought that, it wasn't as good a game as the regular Banjo-Kazooie game. So, I think there is that thing there where people want it, but if you bring it back, have it in the, let Nintendo use it in Mario Kart. Let it be in a couple other games or whatever. Make it big, you know what I mean? Because if you look at how these mascot things go, and it's like you're kind of dipping your toe in everywhere. Look at what Sony did with Sackboy, right? Sackboy had his own thing with Little Big Planet. He was in their fighter, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. He was also had his own kart racing game. A lot of people don't remember that, but Little Big Planet Karting was a really, really good kart racing game. So you kind of put your characters everywhere, so that they can do the things that need to be done to kind of get people excited. But they did actually release the Banjo-Kazooie games on Switch Online. There's like the stuff in Rare Replay. Again, it's just one of those things that is kind of a lazier way to do it, I think. But at the same time, there's all these times where people are like, it'd be cool to do that. I always thought that Toys for Bob would have been a good one to handle Banjo-Kazooie kind of coming back, but Microsoft let them go and become independent, and supposedly they kept a deal with them to do something. Rumors say that it's maybe a Spyro game or a Crash Bandicoot game or something like that, but Banjo doesn't get the love that he deserves. Maybe it's not the big ticket thing that a lot of people it just really kind of feels like it's just one of those things that kind of just isn't going to sell 10 million copies. It's just not. But at the same point in time, I do think that we're really starting to see how Microsoft could do something tremendous with that, and they could do something sometimes like just the way that they did with Hi-Fi Rush, right? You need these games that score well, that win awards and things like that. I mean, that game was in the Game of the Year talk, right? And people go, oh well, is that not enough? Well, listen, I don't think Astrobot sold particularly well. They say it sold maybe 1 or 2 million copies, which is okay, but at one Game of the Year, it brings kind of prestige to your studios. It brings prestige to your platform in general. So I think that's something that is much needed in the industry as well. It's not just about okay, well, did this game sell a kabillion units or whatever, you know what I mean? Because you have Call of Duty for that. Call of Duty is not really a game that's going to win many awards, but it's going to sell a ton of copies, and and bring that kind of notoriety to you, and it's like you need some of those other games, and I feel like they kind of got that a little bit with like Indiana Jones and things, but they need more than that. It's like I feel like Microsoft needs more. They need like the Japanese games. They need the family friendly games. They need the stuff that is realistically going to change how people kind of look at Xbox, because Xbox does kind of miss some of these things, and this is the mark with a lot of these things, and it was kind of claimed that Banjo was in development from a couple people, and then it was claimed it wasn't, but I think if you look at how the track record is for Phil Spencer, he was against like single player RPGs and stuff, and again, it's just one of those things where now he's into it because of the success of like Horizon Zero Dawn, and because of the success of the Zelda games and things like that. You can see, okay, well, these things can be viable or whatever. So again, that's going to be something that we'll see how that works out, but I think it'd be great if they did it. What do you guys think? I mean, wouldn't that add something to the Xbox lineup if they could have a Banjo-Kazooie, bring that back, and if it's a quality game, I think that would be fantastic. But I definitely want to hear what you guys think. Sound off in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, but I think that would round out Microsoft's portfolio greatly. Rack 'em up. Grab Gamer out.